So for everybody that's listening in right now, could you share a little bit about your background and how did you get into this coaching?
Of course. So I studied psychology when I was younger, and kind of went into educational psychology, and I started working with children. And I was going down the working with children educational psychologist route, completed that, but instead, when I went to schools, I really enjoyed teaching. So I then became a psychology teacher for several years. So I started working with teenagers, teaching them psychology, and in the midst of teaching them psychology, particularly when I would teach them about relationships, I realized how important this information was for adults. And I just couldn't believe that this sort of stuff is not taught to everybody. The kids would have such light bulb moments every time I would explain something psychologically to them, and they would be like, "Oh, is this why I get so jealous, or is this why I,
Hmm.
get anxious?" And it made me realize that maybe people need to hear more of this. So during lockdown, I started, my course towards psychotherapy. And just about a year and a half ago, I started posting online, thinking nothing of it. But as you know, with social media, you can just post and think nothing's going to happen, and it can actually change your entire world. That's the beauty of social media. So I managed to just kind of post it online, and then I realized how many people actually need one-to-one coaching or need some kind of coaching in that regard.
Hmm.
So I stopped teaching, and now I go into one-to-one coaching for people who are looking for, it doesn't have to be actually relationship orientated, but I
Hmm.
do realize that people who suffer a lot in psychologically only realize that they need help psychologically when they get into relationships. When they get into relationships and feel a bit traumatized or feel like they can't change their behavior, then they start analyzing their actual behavior in general. And so relationships tend to trigger the need for therapy. And so that's why I kind of do relationship content online.
And I did see a lot of it.
Mhm.
I saw you also sat down with Mike
Mike
Thurston,
Thurston.
and
Yeah.
a lot of the topics were about high value women, how high value men. This was something we talk about on
Yeah.
this podcast. Could you
Mhm.
define what that means for you?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, unfortunately, it's like quite a shallow term, both high
Hmm.
value man and high value women. And lots of people get a little bit triggered by it because they're
Yes.
just saying, well, why are we always talking about high value? Because it's a different world for high value men and women,
Hmm.
unfortunately. And this is in no way to degrade anybody, but high value men and women, their dating scene is completely different to the average person, not necessarily in a good way, not necessarily in a good way, but what I would say a high value man, just like high value man and high value women, there's some precursors. There's something, some ingredients they just have to have in order to be there. For men, it might be wealth. For women, it's beauty. They just need that as a starting step. But to go above and beyond that, it does take psychological elements. So I would say the baseline for men would be to be successful, to be attractive, and to have plenty of options. It makes them somewhat high value. A deeper level in terms of a high value man, I would say the number one ingredient of a high value man is lots of self control. And what I mean by self control is they are selective with their mind, body, and soul. They're very selective with the women that they go to bed with. They're very selective with the men that they choose to do business with, and they're very selective where they like to place themselves in terms of places, environments, and stuff.
Hmm.
And that creates even more value. So I'd say they have the baseline, but their psychology, the number one trait is self-control, lots of discipline. For women high value, they again have the precursors, which is beauty, a bit of well spoken, but the psychological trait that they need in order to be high value as a woman is loyalty. They need sexual exclusivity and loyalty. They can't, and that also includes online behavior. She can't be truly high value if
Hmm.
every man and his son can access pictures of her almost naked. She immediately removes her exclusivity. So I'd say beauty, intelligence, all of those things, but that psychological trait, just like men need self-control, women need loyalty. They need loyalty. There needs to be an air of mystery about her physicality in order for her to be truly high value. So I'd say those are the two ingredients for men and women that are actually needed beyond the superficial.
That is very interesting. I
Mm,
heard you say for a high value man, you said attractive.
mhm.
A high value man has to be attractive.
Yeah.
Interestingly, we research was just published by Yale University, where women said for a successful man, it's more important about that they're financially free as opposed that
Mm.
they're not so good looking. And what is good looking, you know, that's very
I would,
subjective. But
yeah.
I think for women, they might not have as a high standard as men have towards women. Do you agree with that?
I think, unfortunately, the world and women
Mm-hmm.
particularly are becoming more shallow. And
Mm-hmm.
so back in the day, being highly successful was enough to keep your woman because you offer her a lifestyle that she can't access
Yeah.
without it. Unfortunately, in this day and age, we're so hedonistic, we're so pleasure seeking. Now, when a woman is compromising on looks,
Mm-hmm.
she is less likely to be loyal. And in my experience, when a woman is
Wow.
dating a man who is high value based purely on money but not looks, she's more likely to be unfaithful. So a true high value man doesn't require his partner to compromise.
Mm-hmm.
And that includes look. And same with women. A truly high value woman, there's no compromise. The man doesn't have to think, oh, well, she's a bit dumb, so it doesn't matter. Oh, she's a bit promiscuous, but it doesn't matter. There's no compromise. It's only on the less valuable. Now, a man who's incredibly out of shape, who's not that attractive, but is super rich, he's going to attract a woman who's happy to compromise. Therefore, he cannot be high value.
I hear you. And you also
Yeah.
mentioned the word self-control.
Yeah.
What do you mean with self-control? Like not cheating?
What I mean, yeah, well,
Mm-hmm.
cheating, the thing is, what it is even if it's cheating or whatever it is, there's an
Mm-hmm.
element of foregoing your desires for your long-term goal. Now, what I mean by that is if you've got a beautiful family, you've got kids, and you've got a wife, but any woman walking down the street can disrupt that, then you're not that high value. Same with women. It's like if there's no self-control, you become accessible and available to
Oh
every
yeah.
woman. Now, a high value man is inaccessible.
Mm-hmm.
Just like a Chanel. He cannot be high street brand. He has to be a Chanel. There's a waiting list for Chanel's. There's a waiting list for a
For
Rolex, but
Hermes.
there's not a waiting list for
Yeah.
Zara. And
Yeah.
that's not because there's anything wrong with it, but there's high
Yeah.
value. Now, not everybody can access a Chanel. If you're a man
Mm-hmm.
that any woman can access, you cannot be high value. I know successful
Wow.
footballers. I know successful kind of, really successful like rappers or whatever it is. They've
Mm-hmm.
got no value in person because they're so accessible. They're so accessible that you think, oh
But
my
it's for
God, I can
most
have my
most
own.
most high value men though. Like, and especially if I look around and uh the the,
It's
the,
cheap
the
though, no?
billionaires, and yeah, but they
Yes.
there's a
But
majority of
that's what
them.
that's what
Yeah.
yeah, and that's why there's so much confusion because men think money makes you high value.
Yeah.
Money makes you desirable. High
Hmm.
value is inaccessible,
Oh yeah.
and that's the difference.
I'm
Same like
so
beauty.
glad you touch on this. I'm so glad because
Uh-huh.
I hear so many times that, oh, you're a high value man. You're so, it's in your nature, it's in your masculine imperative to cheat, to
Mhm.
have, intercourse with multiple women when you feel like it, and then come back to your wife, and like, she should just
Exactly.
accept it. And this has been no,
No,
but you see this, right? It's been a conversation
it's
for,
cheap
yeah.
though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is the problem with a lot of the content at the moment. They think
Yeah.
being promiscuous is an ingredient to high value. But here's what being promiscuous does. It makes you accessible and available to low value women. Whereas being high value is the average Jenny on the street cannot come near you. Just like the average Joe can't come near a high value woman. Absolutely
Yeah.
not an option for him. Like it's just
Mm-hmm.
don't talk to me. You can't act. Now, if you are the hottest guy in the room and you're a millionaire, but everybody can access you, those girls can no longer brag that she's been with you because you're available to everybody. It's embarrassing. Whereas
Amen.
when you're a man, that it's like a struggle to get a text out of you. It's a struggle to sleep with you. You can't believe how valuable you come across to other women.
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
And
You
that's
you
the
went a
thing.
step
Yeah.
further. You said not even get a text back from you.
Well, you're just not thirsty.
Yeah. Yeah, no, no,
These are your
I hear
high
you.
value
Yeah.
men. They're just not thirsty. And high value men are not going to risk their entire reputation and family for
Hmm.
sex. Sex is so meaningless to them because it's so
Yeah.
available to them. But men who are not used to that and not around that all the time, they will risk it all to have sex with a girl or have sex with multiple girls. You cannot be a disciplined, successful, high value man if you can't control your urges, whether that's with food, whether that's with sex, whether that's with money. If you can't control those urges, how can you claim to be a high value man? Whereas when you're disciplined with money, you're disciplined with your body, and you're disciplined with sex, you're an undefeatable man.
Wow.
Hi, I'm Sadia Khan, and you might know me as a leading dating coach in modern relationships today. I work with men every single day to help give them the blueprint of understanding relationships, women, attraction, and self-esteem. So if you are feeling stuck in your relationships and you want to unlock your full potential, work with me today by clicking on the link, and I look forward to hearing from you.